Blackwing Lair is coming, but what are we supposed to do? Panic? Yes, but getting ready for Blackwing Lair is not as scary as you might think. It is actually pretty easy if you listen to the bold man that yells at you. First of all, to get inside Blackwing Lair, you gotta get attuned in the first place. All you have to do is kill the Scar Shield Quartermaster right outside of Ubers, then you right click the item he drops and you start the quest, and then you gotta do Ubers once, so you can right click the ball behind the last boss, and there you go, that's the end of the quest. Once you got your attunement taken care of, you got some requirements you need to meet so you can actually be part of the fights. Actually one, that's Nefarian, Flame Gore, Ebon Rock and Fire Mode. They are gonna one-shot you if you do not have an Onyxia scale cloak. Yes, you can go around them, but it is super sneaky and it is not a good idea. There is 3 problems, okay? Number 1 problem is you need your raid to be willing to tolerate you doing that, because you are gonna lose damage if you gotta go like do the cheesy strats, and it is annoying. It's annoying to deal with you. Second, it is tricky to do, and one mistake is gonna kill you, so even then it is not a great idea. If you lose your wall buffs, it's over. And 3, if you cannot bother getting the stupid cloak, how can you be expected to do all the fancy stuff? Yes, the Onyxia cloak is kind of expensive. It is going at about 240 gold right now in my server. You need a scale of Onyxia, that's the problem, a Cindercloth cloak and a rune thread. Ideally, your guild bank should save up on all the scales until now to make them for you, but if you plan to poke BWL, you are not gonna get in groups without a cloak. You need a cloak. That's like a no toleration policy there. People don't wanna deal with people without cloaks. By the way, I'm gonna drop a weak aura in the Discord server that reminds you when to equip the cloak so you don't die on accident. Might have happened to me a couple times. So be warned and get that stupid cloak. Prices are gonna drop pretty quickly after a week of Blackwing Lair, so if you get an ult, you might wanna wait a week and the prices are gonna drop really bad. If you're not in a hurry to do Blackwing Lair, even probably like 2 days into Blackwing Lair, you can get the cloaks for much cheaper. And that reminds me, prices. Here is a non-exhaustive list of prices that are gonna go up with the launch of Blackwing Lair. Greater Shadow Protection Potions, Flasks, Greater Fire Protection Potions, Purification Potions, Greater Stone Shield Potions, Sappers, Limited Invulnerability Potions, Free Action Potions, all the materials for roids and the other crap like the Gizzard Gum and that stuff, you know what I mean. And anything that gives you the smallest advantage in raid. Blackwing Lair is a raid with a lot of AoE damage, and a raid where protection potions in particular are really useful for fights like Fire Maw, so a lot of people are gonna use protection potions. And if the tank messes up, most raids are gonna die without them, so that's why a lot of raids require you to use them. So if you have the chance today, hoard them. Do not let them go. Contrary to popular belief, you do not need fire resistance in Blackwing Lair. However, if you are a tank, you should keep your fire resistance set. There are 2 fights where fire resistance is kinda useful, even if you don't go full fire resistance. First of all, Velstras, any bit of fire resistance goes a long way. And also in Fire Maw does a lot of freaking damage, and being able to resist all that damage, that's good stuff. The other fights, you do not need to equip fire resistance. You are probably better off just going with your normal tier 1 set, which granted already has plenty of fire resistance, so Blackwing Lair is not very hard on that regard. But yes, keep your fire res set in hand because you might need it. Of course, if you're a DPS or whatever, do not use fire resistance. That didn't change. Speaking of really nice to haves in Blackwing Lair, now we got the Sunken Temple quest. They are coming out the same day as Blackwing Lair. And now, if I could name a bunch of items, I know there is a bunch of items, but there is one item I am talking about for you, okay? The Diamond freaking Flask. Okay, this thing is a stupid blue item that just happens to be the most broken trinket in the game because Blizzard cannot do math. The Diamond Flask is gonna give you 75 strength, and that will will make it the best trinket in the game, if I am not mistaken, all the way until AQ. So get the freaking diamond flask, you are gonna need it, but the best part about it is that the diamond flask is gonna heal you. It actually heals you for quite a bit, it is not nothing, it's like a heal over time effect that lasts you like a minute. But here's the thing, okay? Blizzard put a 100% flat scaling on healing power on it, so every tick you get 100% of your healing power. And you might think, oh okay, that's because it's warriors, right? Like, it's not gonna do anything. Well, here's the kicker. You can put on a green plus healing set, a bunch of green cloth items, pop the diamond flask, you get the full healing, and then you swap into your normal armor and then you pull. For a tank, that is very important for a few reasons. First of all, of course, healing. How could you hate on extra healing as a tank? But also, healing on yourself counts as healing, period, and healing is global threat. So you are generating a bunch of AoE threat for free the entire time you pop it, and you really need that threat to keep up. You might as well do it just to get that extra threat. Also, you know, saving healers mana, that's a good thing in a raid where there's a bunch of AoE damage. And that's the main thing, okay? Once you get, I would say this is one of the biggest power spikes in the game for raid wide, that when you get like 25 warriors on the diamond flask, all of a sudden everybody's popping them because it is the best damage, and that little bit of healing for everybody adds up to a lot of healing. And that means raid healing is a lot easier, and that means healers got mana for longer, and that means more pumping. You are gonna see some of the top raiding guilds, some of the top speedrunners, they are gonna shed a couple healers because diamond flask is gonna take care of the stressful healing parts of them for them. It's all about the efficiency, but even a casual guild having a bunch of people healing themselves, how could you hate on that? You get your diamond flask, it's on Sunken Temple, it's an entire quest line, but you can start on the 20th to do it, and you should do it before raid. Another little curiosity, speaking of trinkets, there is a trinket you can get in this phase finally, and that's the Darkmoon Fair cards. If you collected all the cards for the deck because you are like insane, well, you can turn them into a trinket now, but you actually gotta wait for Darkmoon Fair, and that's the problem because the next Darkmoon Fair is gonna come out on the 6th of April, that's 16 days after Blackwing Lair, but that means you can still make a bit of a profit or save some money because you still got 15 days where people cannot use the decks, and there is gonna be a bunch of people selling the cards just because they don't know about it, because the demand is not that high yet. It's a good opportunity if you need it. I know it is kinda scary, but Blackwing Lair is really not that hard. There is, however, a consistent problem that is gonna plague every freaking raid, and you should deal with this problem the most because it is the problem that's gonna hold you back the most. This is why people get stuck. And here's the problems. Ads on Razor Gold, the suppression room, the trash before Ebon Rock, and the ads in Nefarian. What do these have in common? They are all AoE. You are running 20-25 warriors, all of a sudden your AoE sucks. The ads in Nefarian are actually undead, so that's a very easy one. You gotta go get a Stratholm Holy Water, and the Holy Water is gonna do a quadrillion damage to them. So I think, I forgot, there was a rule of thumb, but I think the rule of thumb was that 10 Holy Waters can one-shot the ads. So if you got 10 people with Holy Waters, the ads die instantly. Do not quote me on that, it's something like that. You should get your freaking Holy Waters. Holy Waters are technically grenades, and you should absolutely get dynamites. Dynamites do a bunch of damage. Once again, we want to optimize the AoE, and you should get sappers. Because the main problem is not you getting the sappers, the main problem is scale. Because the difference between some of the raid doing sappers and the entire raid doing sappers is astronomical. It's the difference between one-shotting the ads and having the tank take damage tanking the ads, because they are gonna have to AoE taunt and stuff. I do not think there is a trash mob in the game that can survive 25 sappers. Just saying, that's just the warriors, right? If anything, the warriors are absolutely required to have sappers. If I were the raid leader, I would actually make sure that that every warrior has a sapper. I would make it a rule. You are gonna need about 40 of them, so buy them now before everybody does. The suppression room is particularly awful because you are slowed down the entire time and the mobs respawn, so being able to kill them faster is gonna let your healers drink, it's gonna let you catch a break and move and keep the raid stacked, and it's gonna make it easy. if you do not have sappers, the suppression room is freaking impossible. It is really annoying. Here's the one thing about AoE, okay? The more mobs you pull, the more damage you do. So if you pull several packs of trash at a time and you all use sappers, you effectively clear 4 times faster because the mobs just die instantly anyway, even though there's 4 times more. And that's what makes the suppression room bearable. Sappers. Get your freaking sappers. I don't know if you guys are interested in a Blackwing Lair guide. I don't even have vanilla WoW footage for this. I got sold footage, okay? Ignore the mismatch footage. That's gonna be my stock footage for this. But there is one mechanic, the last mechanic, that's gonna mess with everybody, and that's gonna be the class calls in Nefarian. Every time Nefarian does a class call, he just takes one particular class and he does a negative effect on everybody. There is 2 of them that you gotta watch out, the warrior one and the priest one. The warrior one is everybody is forced into berserker stance. They cannot get out of the berserker stance and they take 30% more damage. Now that's a problem for the tank because berserker stance on its own is 10% extra damage taken and they are taking 30% damage multiplied off of that, so they are getting destroyed. Also, this is something that people forget, Berserker Stance has a 10% threat reduction, and also you lose all the threat bonuses from defensive stance. So you actually do jack all for threat the entire class call. It is very hard to pump threat as a tank the entire class call, and that's because of the other problem. If you are a dual wield tank and you get the class call, you gotta swap into a shield. You need shield block to survive the class call because Nefarian can easily clap you if you are like just badass naked and on berserker stance and with 30% extra damage taken. So it is a compound problem because one problem makes the other problem worse. The warrior has to survive, the tank has to survive at any cost, so he's gonna put on a shield and try to survive, so the threat is gonna be weaker and at the same time he's taking a bunch of damage. So I gotta say, watch for the threat meter. If they say warrior class call, watch the freaking threat meter until it ends, or you pull aggro and you kill everybody, because remember that Nefarian is gonna breathe on everybody, or cleave or whatever. He does something, okay? Do not get in front of dragons, is all I wanna say. And also the other class call, because you're gonna see you gotta pump the tank very hard, and that's a problem for the priest. The priest is usually the person that has to take care of that, but the priest class call is even worse. If you heal as a priest when the priest class call is out, you're gonna hurt people very badly, you're gonna kill people. You are not allowed to heal the entire class call, but you can shield and you can renew. So you can renew and you can shield, and that's all you're gonna be spamming for the entire duration. God bless you. But we are talking about preparation here. Why is it important? Well, get a decent amount of non-priest healers, get a decent amount of shamans or paladins, because you are gonna need them. But Medina, what about druids? Yeah, what about druids? Funny you. Funny you. But these should be the main things people are gonna struggle with. If I were to be honest as somebody and tell them how do I do Blackwing Lair, this is what you gotta look out for. And if you come out of this video with nothing else, get protection potions, get the freaking sappers, and get your damn cloak. Thank you very much. Please don't call me gay on the way out, and subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.